Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they won, okay? Like, Philadelphia won. Calm down. I know, people are upset. 23-9, an ugly victory over the Dallas Cowboys here on an Overreaction Monday. We're obviously going to dive into everything. Carson Wentz struggles, the defense, Travis Fulgham. I mean, there's a lot to get into. We're going to go through all of the overreactions for this Monday. But, again, they won, so calm down. Like, get off the Eagles' case. They at least won a football game. Can we be excited about that? They beat Dallas. That's a big deal. First place in the division. Come on. Give me your one-word reaction to the Eagles win down below in the comment section. What would you say? One word to describe the Eagles victory. I want to hear from it down below. Mine is win, because that's all it is. That's all that matters, a win, and the Eagles did it. Okay, well, let's jump into the first overreaction here. The one that we're going to get the most comments about, and then people are talking about, and it's never going to end. Carson Wentz is playing bad. Well, yes and no. The answer is yes and no. So here's the deal. Carson Wentz was bad last night. Yes. Carson Wentz was also really good last night. And this is the problem with Carson Wentz this year, is he has horrible plays. I mean, let's talk about a couple of Carson Wentz's bad plays. That first fumble on whatever it was second and long, third and long, deep in the Eagles territory where he rolls to his left, there's nobody open, and he just takes this weird sack and he loses the football. That's the most excruciating worst part of Carson Wentz, right? That's his fault. Then you go forward to the pick in the end zone where he throws it on the run. It looked like he's trying to throw it out of bounds, but still just throw it out of bounds. Kind of a lucky interception there by Diggs. The deep ball was a dumb decision. And then, of course, the fumble on 4th down and 3. He has guys open. He just has to throw the football. Now, protection was bad whenever he got hit by Van Der Esch, but still, there are guys wide open. Carson can avoid these things. Carson is having a bad year. I mean, listen, we can understand this. But you also got to remember, Carson Wentz made some very, very good throws in this football game. 1, under pressure, and 2, in very, very critical moments of the football game. I mean, the throw to Travis Fulgham in the end zone is a perfectly thrown football. The deep ball to Travis Fulgham earlier on in the game is a perfect throw. It's the most excruciating part of Carson Wentz this year, as he seems to have series where he looks like the second coming of Jameis Winston, the worst parts of him. And then he has series where he looks like 2017 MVP Carson Wentz. And the problem is, we are, 8 weeks into the season, and the consistency remains like this. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride with Carson Wentz. I love Carson Wentz. I'm a huge Carson Wentz fan. I'm a Carson Wentz apologist. I know all of you guys know that and understand that here on the channel. And you might not like him, but he will be the quarterback the rest of the year. He's the quarterback of the future. And for me, I just want to see Carson Wentz put one good game together. I think it takes one mistake-free game for him to get on a roll, and hopefully after the bye week, things might change. So I'm still on Carson Wentz. He's playing bad, yes, but still, go back and watch the film. He made a lot of good decisions last night that were not the 4 turnovers, which, again, still are a massive problem. Do you guys still believe in Carson Wentz? Like for real? Do you actually believe in him as the starting quarterback? I'm going to be reading these comments. I'm going to reply to these comments down below. Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no. One thing last night does do, it proves the Eagles would not be sellers at the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. So, obviously, well, all those trade deadline news updates here on Philadelphia Eagles now. If they do make a trade, right, whether it's a seller trade or buyer trade, we'll cover it here. But winning last night goes a long way in Philadelphia not being sellers at the trade deadline. Okay, Travis Fulgham, next overreaction, is the Eagles' best wide receiver. This is 100%. This is not an overreaction. This might be an underreaction. Fulgham got to go back. Remember, he had his first big touchdown game in the San Francisco game. He had the one catch in the touchdown, and everyone's like, oh, he's a savior. Then he had a great game against the Giants, if I remember correctly. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's the best receiver ever. And I came on this show and said, guys, we need to see more. Well, we've seen more. And the results are in. Travis Fulgham is a star in the making right now in the National Football League. Now, he is not, let's just say this, he is not the best receiver the Eagles have ever had. He's not this dominant, you can't miss guy, but he's good enough to be the number 1 receiver in Philadelphia, and he is good enough to go ahead and be Wentz's top target, and I'm all for that because they have not had a really good receiver like this in a while. He feels like Alshon Jeffrey when Alshon Jeffrey was good and healthy in 2017. Like, that's the kind of plays he's making. These jump ball plays, these deep plays, these catches across the middle. Fulgham is trusted by Carson Wentz, and I trust Travis Fulgham a lot. He's been the top receiver for Philadelphia each of the past couple of weeks. I mean, last night, 78 yards, he led all receivers. Rager, it was good to see back. Just side note, I think Rager's going to be a huge addition the next couple of weeks. Good to see him back. Didn't do much, but did catch a touchdown and the 2-point conversion later on in the game. Goddard, back from the injury, 1 catch, 15 yards, and Greg Ward only 3 for 10. So if you want to talk about Carson Wentz's targets, it's Fulgham, and then it's everybody else right now. And I like what they have again. This young trio. I think these could be very good receivers going forward. But right now, it's Travis Fulgham's world, and we're all just living in it in Philadelphia. And I'm very, very excited that he is continuing to show that he's actually legit and not just kind of a one play, one game, one fluke wonder. Also, they did beat Dallas last night, so just drop a like for beating Dallas because Dallas sucks, and it's fun that Dallas is just this bad this year. Like, all that talent, all that hype, they were picking them to go to the Super Bowl, and it's like, oh, Dallas is so great, and they're terrible this year. Even with Dak Prescott, they were terrible this year. So thumbs up this video that Dallas actually sucks, and the Eagles are at least better than them. We can take some positives from last night that they are better than the hated Dallas Cowboys. Okay, let's see here. Eagles defense is good. What do we do with that? Because I see that on Twitter a lot. For me, let's just say it's enough to win. So the Eagles defense is good, pause, enough to win. Is the Eagles defense elite? No, it's not. Do they have elite tendencies? Yes. They have elite players? Yes. Slay was good last night. Brandon Graham is having a monster year. I was wrong this offseason to say that Graham was too old and washed up. He's the best pass rusher Philadelphia has right now. And Fletcher Cox actually played well at the same time. So first off, again, I know it was Ben DiNucci, so DiNucci held the ball too long and should have thrown 2 picks because they were dropped by Philadelphia. He wasn't great last night. We totally understand that the Eagles did not play Aaron Rodgers, but this defense to me is good enough to win. That's all you can ask for in the National Football League. Ask Seattle. Seattle's defense is not that great, but it's good enough to win. They beat San Francisco yesterday and made the 49er offense look a little rough. So the fact about Philadelphia's defense is this. They can stop the run whenever they want to. Zeke Elliott, again, did basically nothing on 20 carries or 19 carries on the ground. And they can shut down receivers better than they have been able to do in the past. Now, they're not elite on the backside, but Darius Slay makes a massive difference. Did Cooper have a catch? I don't even think he did. Maybe 1 or 2. He was a non-factor in that game. I know it was Dallas, but still, the emergence of not only a better secondary than you had last year, and then even now, a guy like Fletcher Cox had his best game of his entire season last night. If Cox starts to wake up, if Sweat keeps going, Brandon Graham keeps balling out, this is a defense that is good enough to win football games, and it's good enough to win playoff football games as well. The Eagles offense is a whole different story, and we talk about that at length here, but the defense is good enough to where you could get into the postseason, you could play at Chicago, you could play in New Orleans, and you could beat them at home in the cold weather, and I would trust the defense to go ahead and do so. Schwartz has had a rough year, but he's had some very good games individually, and he called a great game last night. I thought Philadelphia was very good on defense. Grade the Eagles' defense in Week 8 in the comment section down below. To me, B+, A-. There were a couple of drives where they were getting gashed on some runs, but overall, I think the Eagles' defense was very good. I want your guys' grade in the comment section down below. Okay, final thought here on my Week 8 Overreaction Monday on the Philadelphia Eagles now. How about this? The Eagles will win the NFC East. The answer is yes, but I'm going to say Washington, right? So my answer is Washington, which people say, well, what does that even mean? It's the fact that the football team, is the only real threat to Philadelphia right now in the NFC East. The Eagles should win the East. We said this last week. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC East. They are the most complete team in the NFC East. They have the best coach, the best quarterback. They have, in my opinion, the best overall defense. And when healthy, the best skill players on offense minus Dallas in terms of being able to make a run at the NFC East crown. The only team that scares you is Washington. Now, before we move on, though, if you guys think Philadelphia is going to win the NFC East, then put your money where your mouth is with our friends at BetUS. Also, the Eagles are on a bye week next week, but you can still bet on other games, and then, of course, bet on future Eagle games as well with our friends. Just go to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use the promo code EAGLES125. Get a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. Put $100 down, bet on Philadelphia. Turns into $225 to fully bet on Philadelphia, and then, of course, you can win some money because the Eagles have been winning, which is obviously a very, very good thing. Again, NFC East standings, Philadelphia, a very clear lead right now in the East. You see the tie is going to go a long way and probably deciding this division. They do have to play Washington again, and I think the football team is their biggest threat right now. Dallas is probably going to be sellers tomorrow. They're going to be getting rid of players. Dallas is in full tank mode, I think. If you go ahead and look at the Giants are not in tank mode, and they are a decent football team, but I think Philadelphia will win in 2 weeks and then put them away and put them out of their misery. Washington is your one threat here, and the problem is that Philadelphia's next couple of games are tough. I mean, after the bye week, you obviously have to take on the Browns, take the Seahawks, got to take on the Packers. I mean, this is not an easy next couple of games by any means, and so Philadelphia has their work cut out for them, but I think the East is basically theirs, barring some sort of massive collapse or some sort of giant rejuvenation by Washington. But I think right now, the only threat is Washington, and yet Philadelphia remains, in my opinion, the clear favorites in the NFC East, which is what I had said all along. And even though this season has gone completely different than what I thought it would have done, I mean, like completely different, they still are going to go ahead and most likely win this division. They will host a playoff game, and guess what? You get to the postseason, as we saw last year. Philadelphia, I mean, Carson Wentz doesn't get knocked out of that Seahawks game. They probably beat Russell Wilson, and then you go to the divisional round, and then you're 2 wins away from a Super Bowl berth. So anything is possible. Guys, let me just say this. I know Philadelphia's bad. I know it's not a good football team. Any other year, they would be last place in the division and terrible. But this is not any other year. It's 2020. So you want to win football games, you want to win your division, and then anything is possible when you get to the postseason because they have enough players when healthy to compete with decent teams, as you saw with Baltimore and the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, excuse me. All the time we have for today here on our Week 8 Overreaction Monday. Of course, stay tuned. Any news this week, obviously injury news, obviously trade rumors as well. We'll have that all covered here on the channel. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, I'm Thomas Mott. Again, a victory Monday. Just be a little bit happy. They beat Dallas. Come on, be a little bit happy. All the time we have for today. Signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.